Hey everyone, I'm Daniel, and today we're going to be taking a look at the XP Pen Artist Pro 14 Gen 2. So XP Pen have very kindly sent me this one for review, but all of these opinions are honest and my own. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video where I will be talking about my very first Draw This in Your style with prizes for 3 lucky winners. So this is actually the first XP Pen product that I've used, and while I've been familiar with them for a number of years, I've only really used Orion and Wacom tablets in the past. So I'm actually really curious to see how this stacks up against them. And spoiler alert, this is a great tablet and I'm really impressed with it despite some issues that I'll get into later. The first thing I noticed when I received the Artist Pro 14 was this amazing artwork on the box done by Shanjiang, which adds such a nice visual element to having this in hand and opening it. Everything from the beginning feels very premium and well made, and inside the box we get the following: the display itself, a pen holder and pen containing 8 nibs, a USB dongle and a nib remover, a wireless shortcut remote, a bunch of power supply heads and a power brick, a cleaning cloth and glove, a warranty card, and a USB-C to USB-C cable, a USB extension cable, and a USB-A to C cable. That's a whole lot of cables. So the Artist Pro 14, instead of being a tablet that has its own operating system, it does need to be plugged into either your computer or laptop for it to function properly, and then all of the video signal gets transferred over here for you to draw on. Setting the tablet up is very straightforward with just a single USB-C to C cable, though if you're running it on PC like I am and you need HDMI output, you will need a 3-in-1 cable that is not included with the Artist Pro 14. I kinda wish XP Pen would have included this with everything else, so if you are thinking of ordering one, please be sure to check beforehand. For setups using a laptop, everything provided here will be fun and work straight out of the box. XP Pen also include a power adapter for additional power to the display in case your laptop isn't able to provide it by itself. So as I was setting everything up, the word that kept coming to mind was premium, and everything from the actual tablet display to the way that the pen feels very sturdy and well made. I really like the way everything feels physically, with a nice matte surface across the display and the softer silicone used on the pen. As the name suggests, the Artist Pro 14 is 14 inches long and features a laminated anti-glare screen. Much like in my last review for the Orion Canvas Pro 13, I find this addition such a welcome one in the modern era of drawing displays. Light doesn't bounce off the screen as easily, so you can really concentrate on drawing no matter what your lighting setup looks like. I also really like the streamlined, clean look that the Artist Pro 14 brings, especially because it doesn't have buttons built into the side. I've personally never really cared for buttons used on the side of drawing tablets anyway, just because I'm so ingrained with using my keyboard shortcuts that I just use that all the time. But it's really nice that they maximize the amount of screen we get and instead put all of the buttons on this wireless shortcut remote. So this thing connects via a wireless USB dongle included in the pen case, but it does need a separate charge over time. So on this thing, there is a scroll wheel that you can use to zoom in or change brush sizes or really whatever you'd like. It's really nice that they give you a bunch of presets to switch between because it's a lot more flexible than just fixed shortcuts. So you can also check out a preview by pressing a button to see all the different key binding options you have. Though again, if I'm just being honest, I only really use this thing to zoom in and out and change brush sizes. I didn't use all of the other buttons because again, my keyboard shortcuts are just burned forever into my brain. But that being said, if you are just starting off, then this is a really great option for you. The display also comes with these 2 legs built into the back to give us a bit more of a drawing angle when using it, and while this is fine initially, I found that it's just far too low. If you're going to be using this tablet for a long period of time, which I imagine most of us would be, I just found that my neck was getting far too strained and it's really uncomfortable because it's so low. I would personally recommend looking into an external stand with more adjustable angles. XP Pen's website does state that this tablet can be used for other things such as like watching movies and gaming and things, but hell no, not with this low angle here. So just for argument's sake, I used the stand that I got in my Orion review with the XP Pen Artist Pro 14, and I found that it was just a much better alternative. So when it comes to other features, something I found really interesting with the Artist Pro 14 is that it does include a 16:10 aspect ratio at 1920 by 1200. This is something I've personally never seen before used in a drawing display. Instead of being a regular 1080p setup, XP Pen have given us a little bit more room to work with, which is a really nice addition for sure. It just gives that little bit of extra space to work with, which is really nice. Now, another feature that I actually really love is that if you hold down the power button for 3 seconds, the tablet display will switch off and function as a regular pen tablet without the screen. I'm not sure how much I would use this practically, but I kind of love that it's there anyway, because it just gives a little bit more flexibility to your setup. Now, the thing that I pay most attention to whenever I get a new drawing tablet or display are the pens. It's the easiest way to get a feel for the product, and XP Pen have done really well here. So for the longest time, I kept hearing other artists and YouTubers say that it feels like drawing on paper when talking about other tablets or displays. And while I still don't really know what that means, I kinda do now. Kinda. Little bit. Drawing on the Artist Pro 14 feels super amazing because of the pen. I think out of all the tablets that I've used in my life so far, this is the one that has the nicest feel. If you switch to the felt nibs included with the Artist Pro 14, there's just a lot more resistance when you're drawing on the screen, and it's a little bit grippy, but it doesn't feel like it's damaging it, if that makes any sense. I mean, if you just listen to me drawing, you can kind of get a sense of what I mean. I also really like that the pen has a smaller profile than other ones I've used. For a size comparison, here's the difference between Wacom and Huion pens and XP Pen's pen. I like that it's thinner and lighter because it doesn't really feel like I'm using a thick marker, as is kind of the case with other tablets I've used, so my fingers rest a lot more comfortably around the grip. Of course, you still have 2 mappable buttons on the pen and an eraser, which is pretty standard, but again, I just find it much faster to use a keyboard than physically flip this thing over. But if you like it, it's there. Though I will say, for as much as I like the actual physical feel of the pen, the pressure sensitivity is kind of a different story. One of the main selling points I've seen with the Artist Pro series is how it's the first drawing displays with 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. But that being said, I personally found the sensitivity a little bit inconsistent. The default settings are fine, and I did notice how responsive it felt, but the main thing that I personally try to avoid is having to press very hard, because it just hurts the wrist and doesn't feel all that ergonomic. So I like my pressure to be somewhere in the middle. Though even after playing around with the sensitivity graph, I never really found that sweet spot that I had with previous tablets I've used. And as I was pressing down on the screen, the actual jump from light to hard was either too fast or too slow. And again, this is kind of my own personal preference too, but I was just never really wowed with the sensitivity. I find that with any drawing tablet anyway, you kind of have to relearn how to use the sensitivity curve, but it's just, again, hard to know exactly how adding 16,000 levels of pressure changed the experience for me because I never really felt it. Now, the parallax on the other hand, which is the space between the tip of your pen and the screen, is practically invisible because of the laminated screen. So the accuracy of the lines are great, I didn't really notice too much pen wobble, and so everything on that side of things is really good. When it comes to colors on the Artist Pro 14, there's a really nice level of contrast and the tones read quite nicely. I did notice that straight out of the box, the colors weren't exactly matching my Asus ProArt monitor, but not really a huge issue because you can go ahead and tweak everything, change the color temperature and all that good stuff. Everybody's setups are slightly different. I didn't really use any kind of color calibration tool, so I can't speak to the actual accuracy of the colors, but in the end, I just thought that it was close enough for what I needed, which is great. One last thing that I do really like about the screen is that it does emit low levels of blue light, which just means that staring at this thing for a long period of time is very comfortable, and I didn't really get any eye strain or anything like that. There are also some brightness controls at the top of the tablet, which is really nice to have instead of having to go into the settings themselves. So for the 3 pros and 3 cons for the Artist Pro 14. The first pro is that everything feels extremely premium and well made, and the build quality just feels really nice. The second pro is that the screen feels really nice to draw on, and the 16:10 aspect ratio does make a difference than other tablets around this size. And another pro, even though I didn't use this a ton, the actual external shortcut remote is a really nice addition, just because again, it gives you that extra flexibility and it maximizes the amount of screen space that you get by not having buttons built in on the side. The first con of the Artist Pro 14 is that the legs built into the tablet are just really low for ergonomic use and for long periods of time. The second con is that personally, again, I just felt that the pressure sensitivity was a little bit inconsistent, and I just never really quite found that sweet spot that I was looking for. And I guess the third con is maybe not really a huge one, but I did notice that the tablet does get quite warm where the wires are plugged into, and it's definitely warmer than other displays I've used before, so you can definitely feel it as you're drawing for long periods of time. So in conclusion, I have been aware of XP Pen since about 2013 or so. My impression back then was that they kind of seemed a little bit behind Wacom, so I never really tried one before. But now having used one of their tablets, I can pretty confidently say that they definitely deserve to sit along the top of other tablet manufacturers out there. So I would definitely recommend this display to artists who want a smaller, cleaner workstation if desk space is a concern, or especially to students as well. Just being able to bring this to class and have it with your laptop, it's very, very flexible that way, and it's a very great addition to be able to help you with your assignments. Now, I wouldn't recommend this tablet to professionals who want something a little bit bigger, and especially with a higher resolution. I would look at something minimum 1440p, especially in 2023, and also just a display with a bit of a wider color gamut as well. Okay, so now if you made it this far into the video, I'm super excited to announce my very first Draw This in Your Style. XP Pen have very generously offered to sponsor 3 prizes to 3 lucky winners, and all you have to do is draw my OC Wyatt and their mascot Phoenix interacting. The first place prize for the Draw This in Your Style is the Artist Pro 12 Gen 2. For the winner in second place, it will be the Deco Pro XLW, and for third place, it will be the Deco Mini 7. And I'd just like to give you a bit of backstory as well for the Draw This in Your Style. Wyatt is a small service droid who was repurposed by his friend Aris and likes to explore the desert and forest of their small town Recon Valley. Some important elements to pay attention to are his red and blue wires connecting to his ears, his charging port, and the dents and scratches all over his body. Phoenix is XP Pen's mascot, who is a fennec fox with blue eyes and a red jacket. It can be whatever medium you like, whether it's digital 2D or a sketch or traditional. And once you're done, go over and follow xbpen.uk on Instagram and post your submission with the hashtag xbpen_DanielAngArt. Winners will be announced on my Insta on the 30th of December. I've also made a post which you can check out in the description below for more info. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Good luck with the contest, and until next time, take care and stay safe.